Hey guys, in this episode, I'm gonna make a couple updates to the Fab enemy assets that we imported, and I'm gonna connect that with data assets that we did back in like episode 3. So I'm kind of bridging the characters to be modular through setting them up with data assets and flowing them down from a parent character blueprint down to its children blueprint. So, what I want to do, and the first thing that I did, if you remember, I ran into some issues actually, the very first thing I did in the last episode. When I moved the folders of the imported fab asset for the stylized scorpion, it created a duplicate and then it kind of lost its original folder location. So I actually just kind of deleted it. Actually, what I did was I exited the application and I just re-imported the assets. So that's what I have here in stylized scorpion. Did not make any edits here. But what I did do is delete the scorpions that were in from that previous episode. And the reason for that was I wanted to correct how they were being added to the viewport. So I'm going to cover that now. I'm happy with the results, with the enemy characters now being connected to data assets. The first thing that I wanted to do, though, was to create a new struct and data table. So I created a new struct in the data tables hierarchy folder. I created a new folder called data table underscore battle enemy stats because not in this episode, but the next episode, what I want to do is build on enemy stats that are stored in a data table. But I'll show you why I'm still just covering that initial setup now. So pretty simply, it's got the enemy level, enemy speed, enemy HP per level, and enemy max HP. That's all we have now. I can even add like attack. We can do that later too, though. And then from there, I created a data table pulling from the struct, and I just entered 3 dummy data rows of data. So speed is 5, 10, 15, 10, 20, 30, 20, 40, 60. So that's all I did here in a new folder for data tables. Then what I did is for the data primary asset, I did the initials wrong here. This is supposed to be data primary asset underscore enemy characters. Let me go to the folder. So under blueprints, data assets, I created a new subfolder now called battle. And then I created another subfolder called scorpions. For the scorpions, and up till now, they were named data assets like big enemy, large enemy, and small enemy. So I made the updates to rename them what makes sense to me. In this case, it's going to be black scorpion, green scorpion, and red scorpion. And all of the scorpions, I have them organized in this scorpion subfolder. It's a lot of folders, but I think I'm going to thank myself later for that. And then for the data primary asset, though, which feeds into the data assets for the scorpions, I made a few updates, namely the visual of what's displayed for the enemy character, because we updated those silly like Christmas trees earlier to now actual scorpions. I named it enemy mesh and I updated the type to skeletal mesh. I updated the animation asset to be named idle animation. And then I added a new variable called material instance. And I just named that material instance. And then I inserted another variable, data table row handle. We've used that a few times now, but this is what we're going to start working on in the next episode, our actual enemy stats that we set up here. So from there, what I did was from the data primary asset, feeds into these options here. I did the name, I named it Black Scorpion. Enemy mesh, I selected the skeletal mesh scorpion that we imported. And then the asset from Fab includes animations. It includes, I think, 3 of them. So there's idle, idle 01, idle 02. So each scorpion has a different idle. And then in the material instance, I chose black to match the name, green. Oh, look at that small enemy. Let's rename this Red Scorpion. Save it. So now what I'm showing now with the red circles are data assets. That's what stores in here. The data primary enemy characters, that's what is right here. And now the actual character blueprint, the parent character blueprint. This code stays the same, but I added a comment. We started in the construction script. I just added a comment for myself. It's the parent set skeletal mesh for the data asset primary enemy character. And this is new. We are taking the enemy character data, dragging it out, getting the material instance, and we are setting the target component mesh set material. So what that does is it's getting the data primary asset right here, pulling out of it the material instance, and then we're setting the material of the mesh. That is the magic of how each actual scorpion in the construction script has its own unique color, or one component of how. The other update is in the event graph, similar. I'm going to name this a comment here before I forget again. This is set DP enemy character idle animation. I struggled with this a bit because I was trying to also add it at the end for the construction script, but I learned that construction scripts, for one reason or another, had issue taking this code. So from the begin play, similar to what we just covered though, for the material, we're pulling from the character data, getting the idle animation, and we're playing it to the mesh. So what this does at the character level, with the enemy character data here, when we type in character at the highest level of the components, there's nothing here. But now from the children, if you right click create children blueprint class, that's what each of these are. Everything that we set up from the data assets is now at the click of a button accessible through here. So it's going to be extremely handy and helpful as we build the complexity of the characters and we scale the quantity of characters. At this point, it's pretty simple. We just did the mesh, an idle animation, and the material. And then in the next episode, I'm going to actually assign some enemy data to it, like health and attack and speed and all of that, kind of like we started here. And then in the episode after that, I want to start looking into updating from animation assets to animation blueprints. That way our enemy characters are starting to get smarter. Not smarter, but more unique. So here I corrected what I left off with in the last episode. Our enemy characters are unique. They've got their own materials and animations. I think it looks really cool. And then let's do a test. So from the data assets, if I go into battle, I want to right click, create a child blueprint. I'm going to name this test large black scorpion. Let's open this up. So what I envision now is what's going on here? I think I did the wrong thing. Did I do? Oh, I did. I totally did the wrong thing. Sorry about that. Did I do that right now? I don't know what I was thinking. Hopefully I don't break everything right now. Let me start over. I'm just going to save everything. Save all. Can I, in the blueprints, data assets, battle, tests? I don't want that. It's not letting me delete it though. Well, maybe I'm stuck with that for a while. That sucks. But let's go to blueprints, enemies, battle. This is what I want to create. Children blueprint class. BPC test, BPC. Large black scorpion. Now if I open this, now we're talking. Now I want to, let's say I wanted to create a character really quick. I go to the highest level at the hierarchy. Oops. I do character, and then I've got my thing here to select, and I've got my available data assets. Let's do the black one. And I name this large, so let's increase the scale by 3. Oops. I guess that should be 3 across everywhere. 3, 3, 3. All right. Now this guy's looking like a giant. Compile. Now I can drag this guy into the viewport. He's my blueprint class. Blueprint child. Where'd that guy go? Oh, did I end? Is he gone? Yeah, I think I did Control Z. Oh my gosh, that looks so funny. I guess this is the boss. How cool. So just like that is a sample of how quickly we updated the characteristics. And that guy looks like he's ready to attack. You know what? Let's actually do that. Oh, okay. If I wanted him to do a different animation, I would create a different data asset for him. But that's okay. We're not going to do that right now. So now I've got that big boss in the back. That's pretty cool, though. All right, guys. Thanks for this episode. Next, again, we're going to be, what's it called? Give our characters, our enemy characters, some actual statistics. And then maybe we can start battling them shortly after. Thank you. Bye.